Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Coffee with Katie. I have my XOXO Target mug. This came with the cloth. Coffee is my love language mug, so it was cute. It was 2 mugs for like $5. Can't beat it. So today's video is going to be my April TBR. So this is going to be a very chaotic and unrealistic TBR. I'm going to be trying to read a lot of things and just kind of seeing where I land, giving myself tons of options, trying to finish up some challenges, trying to finish up a series I'm really enjoying, and just a lot of different reasons. So let me just, get right into this. So like I said, there's a lot of books I want to finish up. I want to really work on my last chance books because this is like their last chance. I think at the end of April, I'm going to get rid of a lot of these, which is sad because I don't really want to, but I need to force myself to do it somehow. So I'm going to try to give myself a really good shot at tackling several of these. There may be like 1 or 2 that I pull out and keep. Well, maybe 1 that I'll keep if I don't read it. But like I said, I needed to get rid of these if I haven't read them. So several of those I'm going to try to read. I originally was going to have my Audible membership ending in April, but I got another like coupon deal to where it's like half the price for the next 3 months. So I'm going to continue that. And I have lots of things on my Audible Plus catalog that I want to get to. So I don't have to rush through that at the moment, but that was one of the things I was going to try to get to. And I may still get to some of those depending on how much time I have. But I have a lot of books that I want to read, and there's just a lot of moving pieces. So it's going to be chaotic. I'm probably not feasibly going to be able to read all of these, but I'm going to give myself a lot of options. That way it gives me a little bit of freedom as a mood reader. So don't hold me super tightly to this TBR, but let's just go. Let me start with the ones that I know are going to be on my TBR, because some of these are like, if there's time, whatever. So I'll start with the last chance books that I would like to get to. And I'm not going to go into these super in depth because I did talk about these in my last chance book challenge. But the first one that I would really like to read is Ash Lords by Scott Rankin. This is one that I'm insanely interested in, and I'm kind of annoyed at myself that I haven't read it. But it's about phoenix horses, which look at that cover. And it's a race, and it's only a duology, so feasibly, I don't have the second book, but feasibly this could be a really quick read. I've kind of heard it as a mix between like the Hunger Games and the Scorpio races. I've never read the Scorpio races, but the idea of these like phoenix horse things and it being like a life or death situation has really piqued my interest. So I would love to get to this, and I really need to. This is probably the top priority of my last chance books because I just am so interested in it, and I really want to know. So I really, really, really want to get to this if I can. Another one is going to be Forest of Souls by Lori M. Lee. This is one that I've been trying to read for a long time. It's been on my TBR a couple of times. I've started it. I may have taken the bookmark out at this point, but I started this and got like 100 or so pages in and just put it down for no reason. So I would really like to finish this. I have to finish this sucker before I give it up. So I really need to get into this one. This is essentially where there are shamans and they have magic, but if you have magic in this world, you're considered evil. And she's trying to be the queen's or the queen empress something assassin, but she finds out that she has this soul magic, which again is illegal. So she's on the run with her friend. She saved her friend from dying or brought her friend back to life. And so she's like on the run and trying to figure it out as she goes. The magic system was kind of complicated, but seemed really interesting. So I would desperately need to read this as well. Now, in the same vein of these last chance books, there's like 5 of them, would be Red Hood by Alana K. Arnold. I was very intrigued by this. I saw this when it first came out in a bookstore and was like, I want to read that. So this has been on my radar for a very long time. I ended up buying it secondhand, but I really like Red Riding Hood retellings, especially when there's like werewolf or wolves involved, which all of them would have to be, I think. I really want to read this as well. About broken boys and vicious wolves, about girls lost in the woods, frightened but not alone. Yeah, I don't know. It's a Red Riding Hood retelling. I want to read it. And the last 2 of my last chance books that I really want to try to get to would be Roseblood by A.G. Howard. This is a Phantom of the Opera retelling. I think she falls in love with this guy, and he's very mysterious, and he has to make the choice to either like give her to the Phantom or save her or whatever. But it just sounds really interesting, and I love Phantom of the Opera and retellings, so I would like to get to this as well, or at least give it a shot. And the last one on that section would be Fox by Nadine Brandes. This kind of, I was like, that sounds interesting, and I like V for Vendetta. But I've actually heard pretty good things about it from people that have read it. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it, but the people that have read it and talked about it seem to really enjoy it. And it sounds kind of interesting because the curse is like they turn to stone. So I would also love to give this a shot if I can. I know that was like no synopsis on any of those, but it's because I already went over them in my last chance books. So that's it for those. The other high priority that I'm already started, to be honest, would be the rest of the Bonds That Tie series by J. Bree. So that would be Blood Bonds, Forced Bonds, Tragic Bonds, and Unbroken Bonds. There are 4 books left in that series for me to read. I flew through the first 2 and I've already started the 3rd since it's April now. And I just like get really sucked into this world, and I really don't know why. It really took me by surprise. I didn't think I would love it this much, but I'm like super invested and desperately want to know what happens. So I'm planning on just like devouring the rest of this series very quickly. And I want to get the rest of that series read ASAP. If you don't know what the Bonds That Tie series is, the first one is Broken Bonds, and you're following Ollie, who has some like mysterious happening. Some accident happens and you cut to like several years in the future, and she has run away from her bonds because in this world, when you get a blood test and you are magical or powerful, you find out who your bonds are. And you could have 1, you could have 2, you could have 3. She has 5. And they're all very powerful, which means she must be very powerful, but you don't really know what she does, how, etc. There's a lot of mystery surrounding her origin, and you're picking up where a team has found her and has brought her back to her bonds, and she's kind of facing the consequences of running because it's really upsetting for them, because basically she's rejected all of them and it's just really painful, and she's like going back into this situation and trying to survive. There's a little bit of like bullying and kind of like ownership that's a little uncomfortable when you're reading the first book, but as it goes and the mystery unravels and more things happen, it's really interesting. And so I've been like hooked, and it really blew me away. I wasn't expecting that. So I really want to read this series. So I really want to finish this series, and I'm very excited to do so and have the freedom to do so. The next one I'm planning on reading, I truly wasn't planning on reading it this soon after the first one, but since she announced her 3rd book coming out in January, which is not close, I feel like people are just free reigning, posting spoilers everywhere, and I'm terrified that I'm gonna just get the whole book ruined for me. So I need to read The House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas, because she announced her book. She announced the 3rd and final book in this, I think it's the final book, in this series, The House of Flame and Shadow. And since then, people have just been assuming that everybody has read it, and if you haven't, you're screwed, and posting a lot of stuff, and I've been trying to avoid it, but like I think some of the stuff was like spoilery, and I don't really know. And so now I'm just trying to read this as fast as possible so I don't get spoiled, and I'm kind of really frustrated about that, because the book doesn't even come out until January, and you're already spoiling it when people have the chance to catch up before that comes out. I'm a little annoyed, but I would like to read this so I don't get spoiled. It's a chunker. I'm a little intimidated, but at least then I would be caught up and it would be over. That sounds bad. I'm not like dreading it. But yeah, this sucker's like 800 pages, so it's definitely on the docket. Hopefully I can finish it. I just don't want to get spoiled. If you don't know what this book is about, the first one is following Bryce, who is a half human, half fae, and they live in this city called Crescent City, and it's just like every magical creature you can imagine lives in this city, and it's more urban fantasy, and she gets involved in a trying to solve the murder of her best friend, and she gets assigned a bodyguard who is a fallen angel, and it goes from there. And it was fun. It was interesting. I didn't love it as much as A Court of Thorns and Roses, because I'm more of a high fantasy than an urban fantasy type of person, and just the characters and whatnot. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. And so I'm excited to get to book 2. I hope there's more plot, but I've heard there's not. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I would like to read this as well. The next one would be We Could Be Villains by Megan McLeod. This is on my 23 books to read in 2023. So I've mentioned this before, but it is, I guess the easiest, simplest way to describe it is take like the Marvel universe that we have today. So like all of the cinematic universe, the following, they have that kind of a situation in this world where she's like a big Marvel fan, for instance. I'm just going to say Marvel. It's not Marvel, but it's similar. She's a big Marvel fan and she follows all the movies, follows all the shows, is really invested in the fandom. And the film studio is keeping the secret that this is actually all real. They're real people with real powers. And she finds this out, and the villain in the series kind of ends up blackmailing her. And I think it's also a villain gets the girl type of situation. So it sounds really interesting and something like I would love. I love superheroes. I love villain gets the girl. So I'm really interested to give this a shot. Obviously, I've been trying to read this for this year anyway, but I would like to get to it soon. And yeah, this is book 1 in the Vigil and Ante files. So there's obviously going to be more than one book. At least I hope. I don't know why you would say book 1 then. But yeah, so this is also one. That's 11 books at this point, so I really don't think I could read much more than that, or even that many. That's just so many. I don't think it's possible. But I also, I started Brightheart, and I'm more than halfway through. And I really want to finish it, so I'm just going to continue it and hope that I can finish it in the next couple of days. So that's like kind of tacked on there, but it's from March, so it's just there, okay? It's just there. Hi, this is Katie from the future. I forgot to do my sprayed edges draw for the month of April, and so I just went ahead. I'm going to film that and then insert it in the video. I apologize for the wardrobe change, but you got to do what you got to do. So I'm so sorry I forgot. One just like flew out at me. Let me stuff that back in. I didn't pick you. You thrust yourself at me. Okay. Grab 2, like put one back. Okay. Oh, I was not expecting that. I got City of Last Chances. So let me go grab that. So for my sprayed edges pick, I got City of Lost Chances by Adrian Jakovsky. So I've never read from this author before, but this is a Goldsboro book that I got that it is absolutely beautiful and the story sounded pretty interesting, but look at those edges. I am very bad about reading my Goldsboro books, so this is probably good for me. But yeah, let me remind myself what this is about because I don't know. I'll just read you this little blurb on Goodreads, but it says, his triumphant return to fantasy with a darkly inventive portrait of a city under occupation and on the verge of revolution. There has always been a darkness to Ilmar, but never more so than now. The city chafes under the heavy hand of the Palestinian occupation, the chokehold of its criminal underground, the boot of its factory owners, the weight of its wretched poor, and the burden of its ancient curse. What will be the spark that lights the conflagration? Despite the city's refugees, wanderers, murderers, madmen, fanatics, and thieves, the catalyst, as always, will be the anchor wood. The dark grove of trees, that primeval remnant, that portal, when the moon is full, to the strange and distant shores. Ilmar, some say, is the worst place in the world and the gateway to 1,000 worse places. Ilmar, city of long shadows, city of bad decisions, city of last chances. So it's pretty vague, but it sounds really cool and interesting. So yeah, hopefully I can get to this as well. Hi, bud. Yeah, so I'm glad I have this. This is the next book in April. April's obviously very chaotic, as I said. So we'll see if we get to this, but I hope I can. That's it. Bye. I think I'm going to cut it off at that. If I mention something that I listened to on Audible Plus catalog later on, that's because I let myself finish something. That's so far what I'm planning on reading in April. We'll see how this evolves, if there's more, if there's less, if there's different ones. Who knows? April is going to be a chaotic wild card. But that's in theory what I'm planning on reading. I would love to know what you guys are wanting to read in April, or if there's anything that you're currently reading, let me know. But as for now, that is it for today's video. Please like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you next time. Stay safe and caffeinated. Bye.